Welcome to Packets and Bolts, podcast about technology, life, philosophy, and everything in between. It is Friday, July 28th, 2023. This is your host, Muskrat, along with my co-host, Mongoose.
I'm here.
Dub Cinch is out today, doing SysAdmin work last night.
Yeah, he's been worked to the bone.
Join us as we celebrate the 2023 SysAdmin Day on this Friday evening. Ooh, SysAdmin Day. Can you feel it?
Yeah, I feel it multiple times a week.
All right. As always, we are going to do some headlines. And we'll read some listener emails, mix up a cocktail, but not necessarily in that order.
Ooh.
Changing it up.
We're getting our priorities in order.
That's right. Email the show at packetsandbolts@gmail.com. Packetsandbolts@gmail.com. Join us on Discord. Follow us on Mastodon. That's packetsandbolts@ioc.exchange. OnlyFans, you can, if you search hard enough, you can find us on there. All right.
Are we going to have an OnlyFans sale?
We are going to have one. And we're also selling our
30%,
VPN
30%
services.
off,
We're still trying to get that started. The Packets and Bolts VPN. All right.
Our VPN exit node is the OnlyFans servers.
The OnlyFans service, yes. All right. Well, it is Friday. It is very hot. It's very hot here.
Hot everywhere.
It is. And so we're going to mix it up today. We're not going to do our normal format. We did just interview Michael Horn for those that, the episode is blowing up already. Like the last time we interviewed him, it is one of our more popular episodes.
It's very timely too.
It is.
With everything going on in the government, the hearings.
Yes, we're going to have another show just dedicated to the hearings because the amount of things that are coming out about the hearings are insane. But for now, so we're not going to do the normal shake up. We're going to shake it up. We are going to have our drink now. And I think I hear that jazz. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's very hot in Wisconsin. It might be hot around where you are, too. If you're in Florida, you can basically go into the ocean and it's like a hot tub. That's what I hear. Now, we can't help you down in Florida, but we can give you a mental escape.
When it gets hot here in Wisconsin, we drink.
We drink when it's hot. We drink when it's cold.
When it gets cold, we drink. Yep.
And when it's temperate, we drink. The only difference is what we drink. And today we're drinking daiquiris. Everyone's familiar with daiquiris, but we're doing a real daiquiri. We're not doing the, weird ass.
No, the strawberry shit.
Bullshit. Yeah, no. Now, we're doing 2 ounces of light rum, although I do like to make it with dark rum a lot of times. But we're doing light rum, 1 ounce lime juice, 3/4 ounce simple syrup, garnished with a lime wheel, although I didn't do that, so I'm sorry. You do want to add all the ingredients to a cocktail shaker. You add ice and shake until chilled. Strain until chilled, coupe or cocktail glass. Garnish with that lime wheel. If you want to beat the heat, have a daiquiri. Now, it might help you, it might not help you hydrate. And if you have heat stroke, you might die faster, but you will die happy. All right, I'm about to drink this thing. Salute.
Salud.
Yeah.
Freeze.
All right.
Oh man, I feel so cool already.
Yeah.
That's good.
Now the daiquiri is like I always say the rum version of the margarita. And the difference is that rum really gives it that, if you have a real rum like we do, which now I'm struggling to remember which rum I'm doing, but if you get a real rum that's made from molasses, you really get that taste of, Pirates of the Caribbean taste, where they made the molasses rum. And that's what you're looking for in a real rum. Make sure it's all molasses all the time.
If you don't feel like a pirate after you've drank rum, you've got the wrong rum.
That's true. That is true. Don't settle for rum-flavored alcohol. Get alcohol that's flavored like rum. Right.
No.
The show at packetsandbolts@gmail.com. Packetsandbolts@gmail.com.
So what's that knockoff rum we used to drink when we were younger? Was it San Juan?
Yeah, rum-flavored alcohol. Yeah. That's why you want your alcohol flavored like rum, not rum-flavored alcohol. See, I'm telling the truth here.
I see what you're going for. All right, I agree with that.
All right. All right. So, we're mixing it up today. So normally we don't do music for the headlines, but should we do the should we do our email?
Yes. Bring on the emails.
The email, should we do the email music for headlines? That's what I'm wondering. I think we should. All right. Maybe tone it down a little bit. Yeah, this is SysAdmin Day if you didn't know. So we're already half in the bag. We're celebrating. Being... Was that applause?
Yes, hold your applause, please.
So here's the deal. If you don't know this, IT is about being on call almost all the time.
It's about working 24/7.
Yeah. So for those that want to get into IT, I do recommend it if you are so inclined. Just remember that when you climb the various ladders and you get more experienced, you might be working all the time. Now, there's pros and cons to that. You get flexibility, right? We'll talk about that more in the second half of the show. But, you got to work a lot. And that's probably why a lot of IT people drink. Now, when you're in Wisconsin, you already drink a lot. And so when you're in IT and you're in Wisconsin, you drink even more. So that's a little detrimental to your health.
The trick is knowing when to drink when you're not going to get called or when you're not working, or to know how to drink when you are working.
Yeah, that's the skill. We don't condone that. We don't recommend that.
Of course not. I would never do that if my employer's listening.
Packets and Bolts does not condone that. All right. Let's tone that down a little bit and let's get into this one. Here's the ladbible.com, which I've never seen this website before. Anyways, giant penis mowed into lawn at King Charles' coronation party. Now, we're a little late here because we've been a couple of months behind here. But, they mowed a penis into the lawn. I don't know, people, hooligans.
The ghost of Epstein?
Wouldn't it be awesome if a random pack of goats ate the lawn in the shape of a dick?
Is that the Epstein signal?
Like the bat signal.
Yes.
Jeez.
Prince Andrew lights it up. He's probably the one mowing the lawn there.
Yeah, well, just days before the coronation party, Cocky Pranksters is a very, very good article, mowed a large willy into a perfect lawn, in quotes, on one of Britain's most famous streets. I'm not exactly sure why they're calling it a street when it's grass, but maybe in Britain they call lawns streets. I don't know. Anyways, well, I'm in favor of this because I think the coronation is weird in this day and age. But, whatever. King Charles has to have his day. He's been waiting like 80 years to become king, so whatever. He can enjoy the cock. All right, let's see. Now, following up on King Charles thing, I don't want to go in too deep in this, or try not to get too heavy in these. But at the someone here at the HuffPost.
Answer the door.
At the HuffPost.com, King Charles' coronation will include public declaration of loyalty. Now, I believe they backed away from this, right? I think when I put this message in there, that's what they wanted to do, and I think they changed it and made it a little less weird because they're basically, if you didn't notice, the world is becoming more and more authoritarian. Mm-hmm. America is now censoring everyone, and they think it's like normal. So this is just another weird thing. I feel like we're slipping into the early 1900s.
I think the royal family took a page out of the playbook and tried to compel everyone to swear loyalty like this, and just realized that they were a little bit ahead of the plan.
Right. Yeah.
So I mean, they were looking 5-10 years out the way things are going. Yeah. A little bit too soon.
Yeah. All right, Daily Dot. Watch out for Taco Bell. If you haven't seen the viral TikTok, they serve expired beef. So, piles and piles of beef hanging out past its expiration date, and the managers basically tell them they got to get it out. You got to serve it. I don't know about you, but
food costs, man.
You should, yeah, right. They want to reduce food costs. So I would avoid most fast food. And if you can, make a jalapeno bacon burger. Mm-hmm. Mongoose makes a pretty mean one.
That's true.
Yeah, so it's some herb butter. Mm-hmm.
It's a jalapeno roasted garlic butter, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But when the evil plan to make everybody eat bugs comes around,
It's
Taco Bell is first on the list of including that in their list of ingredients. So
It's coming. It's coming.
Get out, run for the border, run away from the border,
Run away from the border.
close the borders, run away, because you'll be eating crickets in your tacos.
Does anyone remember? You already are. There's already like lots of bugs in your Taco Bell. Does anyone here remember when Taco Bell actually had bells at their locations? Yeah.
I remember when they had a Chihuahua, and then at
yeah.
some point they decided to cook the Chihuahua and put it in their
now
tacos.
it's expired. All right. Insider.com. An Indiana pizza shop owner says he's facing thousands of dollars in fines for letting a homeless man keep a tent between two dumpsters behind his restaurant. Now, this is just more and more of our dystopian culture we're living in. I think Texas has, Houston has a law where you can't feed homeless people meals in front of buildings without the permission of the owner, and they're getting fines daily. And it's in front of the public library after they close. So it's a public building, the place is closed, and they're getting fines for feeding the homeless. So we're criminalizing even helping people. And I think Mongoose might have had some thoughts about tents. And that's something that people should allow you to do if you want to stay in a tent.
Yeah, I did. I did sleep in a tent for a month or so. I worked there. The owner was pretty cool. He'd mow around my tent in the morning. And on the flip side, it was a give and take, because if somebody didn't show up for work, he would just knock on my tent.
Oh, nice.
I mean, it wasn't really knocking. It was a fabric tent, But
Yeah, right.
He'd kick it, and he'd say, Mongoose, come work. You homeless bum. So, what's this guy in Indiana getting, what's he getting fined for?
What was the actual, is it like something about tents and
they couldn't drive the truck up to empty the dumpsters.
$500 fine from Evansville Area Planning Commission, which said the tent was a structure that violated a city ordinance for land use. A tent is a structure now. Nice. Interesting. Yeah. So it's getting weird. It's getting weird out there.
But why are they fining the owner? Why don't they just call the cops and tell the homeless guy to get out?
Well, I mean, it's private property, and the guy's letting him stay there. I don't know. Don't ask me.
Fucked up.
It's all weird. So, yeah, this is what happens when a society collapses. I don't know what Rome was like, other than they use those sticks to clean themselves when they're going to the bathroom. Mongoose knows about that.
Yeah.
What was that called again?
I do that every day. I got the sponge in the water trough in the restroom over there. Once we as a society get to public restrooms where we're sitting, ass to ass with each other, and we're wiping each other with a communal sponge, then we know democracy's gone.
It's all gone. Democracy dies in the trough. All right, so let's see here. What is this website? Get Connected at gitconnected.com. Wow, we're really getting some weird sites here. Amazon Prime Video's move to monolithic architecture. Is it worth the risk? Now, this is kind of an adjacent SysAdmin Day thing, because it's kind of about programming. I know we're sysadmins, we're not developers, but it's just kind of funny, because all of a sudden Amazon Prime, developers or something, realize that if they went to a monolithic architecture, it actually became more performant. So the funny thing is, for us that like to make fun of developers, is it's well known that monolithic architecture is faster. The micro services architecture was created to supposedly simplify things, break things out into little tiny disparate systems. And then the hope was each small little thing would be easier to work in the whole. And then give you some sort of efficiencies. But apparently Amazon's was so convoluted and so effed up that the communication between the different services were so bad, consolidating back into monolithic gave them a lot more performance. And so now they've had this epiphany that, any engineer that was from the old days would have told them, yeah, no doubt. So I don't know. I don't want to rip on developers too much. Developers,
So I'm looking at these diagrams, right, in the article, and they got the initial distributed serverless architecture. That's what they're
serverless.
they're migrating
all
away,
the sexy and
away from,
serverless. Yes.
I hate that shit too because like there are servers. Like,
I know.
Come on.
I know. This is another topic for another day.
No, they're microservices. They're containers.
They're not serverless. There's no servers.
Bezos.
Yeah.
You know, when you order from Amazon, Bezos rubs his balls on your shit before you send it. Like, we were just talking about that earlier.
Yeah, everyone.
It happens.
Personally.
Like, I know for a fact that when your shit runs late, it's because his flight didn't land and he didn't get a chance to wipe his balls on yours.
Well, you might say, but Muskrat, what about when he's on vacation? Well, he does have a proxy ball rubber. So what happens is Bezos rubs a sponge that he gives to his proxy, and the proxy rubs all the products with the sponge, thereby...
And then they wipe their ass with it.
Second generation
it all
rub.
It's full circle with the Roman Empire. Good God.
Well, anyways, we'll have another show on serverless architecture. We'll get a developer on here to talk about that. Some of the videos I watch YouTube sometimes talking about some of these epiphanies that developers have, and some of the comments are the funniest thing because they'll say things like, it's funny watching developers rediscover the things that they shunned, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. So I don't know, whatever. Try not to. The thing, here's what I'll say about developers without getting too mean. They chase the shiny new trend too much. Just stop. Just stop chasing the shiny new trend. It's not going to be the utopia you think it is. Just realize that now. Play with it. That's fine. Put it in a little lab, pet it, feed it. Don't chase it. That's all I'm saying. All right. So if you guys feel like wasting some time, PCMag.com, Wendy's drive-through orders to be taken by a chatbot. So if you want to go and waste time trying to order with a chatbot, go to Wendy's near you. Mm-hmm.
When I go to McDonald's, I waste about 30 seconds every trip through the drive-through because they always start with, "Hello, welcome to McDonald's.
Oh, yeah.
Will you be using the mobile app?"
Oh my gosh, it's so bad.
Like, why the fuck would I use the mobile app if I'm in the drive-through?
And it's not a person, right? It's a computer.
I don't. It could be a person or a computer. Actually, no. I think it is a computer because one of the times I went through there and it sounded fake as shit. And I said, "Is that like a bot or something?" She's like, "Oh yeah." So you're right. Yes, actually.
Yeah. When did this happen? When did everything start now? That even when they have people on staff, they introduce you with a freaking pre-recorded computer thing. It's the most annoying thing. It could be a phone call. It could be a drive-through. And they're like, "Hello, welcome to McDonald's." And then you're like, hello? And then the real person gets on, and you have no idea if they heard you or not. And it's like, why are you even doing that? Why did you waste your time? Did I need to hear some moron bot talk to me? I don't.
Yeah, think about the logistics of a drive-through. You have one or two lanes. It's a serial fucking progression of cars, okay? So you're there at the speaker, and by inserting the bot to spend some time asking you if you're doing the mobile app, what do they think? That's offloading work for the person with the headset? Because that person is just waiting for the next car anyway.
It is dumb, and their ultimate goal is to not have someone there. And this is just staging that. But it's dumb in the meantime, and it's going to be dumb after they do it.
So what happens to those jobs after it's all automated?
Well, you know that they had that one, they made a fully automated burger dispensing machine that was in like an airport or something, and it wasn't McDonald's. Although there is some McDonald's with some weird automated thing. But anyways, this burger thing, it made the sloppiest burger and all that stuff. But here's the funny part. The quiet part, that even when they do the fully automated McDonald's, there's a man in the back. Does anyone here know the Mechanical Turk? The supposed chess computer that was actually a person in there. So this thing made a mess of it. But also there's a guy or gal that has to take care of it when it fucks up. Like either things break, burgers drop all over the place, it gets ground up in the gears. And don't think for 1 second that there's not going to be some stale ass burger that gets caught in the mechanism, and someday it'll shit it out and someone's going to bite into an ancient patty and they're going to be like, what is this?
It's winning the lottery. Oh yeah. Nice job, right. Producer.
All right. All right. So, hey, did they ever find Larry Page, the Google missing guy? Because this is like an old story. And I haven't looked at the follow-up.
Last I heard, he was ground up in a burger making machine, and he hasn't been spit out yet.
Because didn't they want him for like Jeffrey Epstein thing? We should probably figure out if that's a thing still.
They want a lot of people for Jeffrey Epstein thing, but nothing's happening.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
At the list.
Isn't that interesting how when it's involving Epstein, nothing ever gets found out? Isn't that weird? Let's see. Larry Page missing. Let's take a look. Did he get found? So I see a May story, a July 6th story. Wow, is he still not found? What happened to Larry Page? Is Larry Page found? It's interesting how every part of this world has surveillance, but when it's some super rich person, you can't find them.
Because they don't want to be found.
The government of the U.S. Virgin Islands is facing difficulties in locating Larry Page. Wasn't that interesting? All we found was a stack of cash. We don't know where he went. I don't know. Maybe he's with McAfee. Well, anyways, at least according to this July 6th, we do not know. Now, maybe there's an updated story that I can't find. Yeah. So July 6th, still not found. But we might have outdated information. Here at Packets and Bolts, we don't care too much about Larry Page, but I think it's funny.
So apparently Larry Page and his counterpart were both Jewish. So
what's that got to do?
I don't think it has a damn thing to do with it, but I'm just looking at social media and people are spouting out about anti-Semitic conspiracies.
Oh, all right. Well, here's the real conspiracy. If he's connected with Epstein in any type of real way, then that's going to get covered up because he's rich and powerful, just like Bill Gates. You know, it's really funny when Bill Gates goes on an interview and then they still ask him about Epstein, and then he's like squirming and he's always playing with his glasses, and then he's like, well, you know, he's dead now, so what? It's kind of weird. Weird response there, Billy.
How did Bill Gates go from like this guy who started the world's largest computer company in his garage to being like the most evil man on earth?
Yeah, we should find out about that. We should ask him. Let's get him on Packets and Bolts.
Will disappear.
Well, speaking of
the last time you see
speaking of Microsoft, don't use their products. They're horrible. So Linux is the way to go if you don't want to be spied on. Because right now, any Windows device in this area is probably listening to us, along with the Bezos.
I don't know about you, but I'm using a Windows device right now.
Yeah, I know.
I'm getting spied on.
I know. It's hearing us right now.
Fuck you, spies.
All right. Get the Packets and Bolts VPN if you feel like you're being spied on. It routes through the Virgin Islands, right through Larry Page's ass.
Routes through Epstein Island.
Nothing would get found. Yeah, that's a good place to host a VPN.
It's actually
where no one can touch you. All right, we're having too much fun this SysAdmin Day, 2023 SysAdmin Day.
All those daiquiris.
Email the show packetsandbolts@gmail.com. All right. So here's a fun thing that I COVID-19. This is ohsu.edu. So if you had the COVID-19 inoculation, it can affect menstrual cycles. So that was a little curious. It can make you irregular for long periods of time. Isn't that weird? That's a little weird.
No comment.
Yes, it's best to walk right through that one.
So Muskrat, you've had your latest booster? Gotten a booster lately?
No comment. So I was going to do the story about Feinstein or is it Feinstein? I don't know. Because is Feinstein or Feinstein, is that like the Berenstain Bears? The
Mandela effect.
Yeah, the Mandela effect, I wonder. So you know that Feinstein is basically, some sort of living corpse that has been propped up to stay in office. And why is that something we should talk about? Because what happened recently with good old Mitchie boy. So the real story now is Mitch. He was talking, and how many seconds did he freeze?
18 seconds.
So my theory is he was getting a firmware update and it fucked up. It went off the rails and it had to revert to the old firmware. Like they were trying to give him new information to say. He just kind of crashed.
We almost need to do a whole episode on this because it's not just Mitch McConnell. And this is not a partisan thing, okay? It's not just Mitch McConnell from the GOP.
Well, it's Feinstein.
It's Feinstein.
Democrat, yeah.
It's Hillary when she was campaigning. She'd have seizures. You can say, hey, Occam's razor, it was just medical stuff. Or you can look at her when she was sitting there with Bill that time and they dropped the balloons. And she's like, No, it wasn't right.
I think that was just
Biden with all his
excitement.
gaffes. And what about Biden? And how does he always look different? Over all these years, there have been like 4 versions of Biden.
That I'd have to see.
Or Paul McCartney.
Yeah, well, we
It's
know
not the
Paul
real
isn't.
Paul.
We know he's not real. He's the fake Paul, the faux Paul.
So we talked about this, but I think the original Paul McCartney is running the world right now.
Oh, that'd be interesting. At least he wouldn't be dead. I'd be in favor of that. Except he's kind of taken the world down the wrong path.
I mean, Yellow Submarine, and then...
Wasn't that Ringo?
Well, all right, but then the submarine...
How does the submarine play into this?
What
is it doing?
It's a sign. Well,
the Titan.
It imploded.
That would be funny if it was yellow, actually. I wouldn't. No.
I think it was white, but
Yeah.
it probably flashed yellow before
Ringo just got the color wrong. All right. Speaking of Bill Gates and his weird perversion, Ars Technica, Microsoft is scanning the inside of password-protected zip files for malware. Huh. Well, isn't that interesting?
I feel safe.
Yeah. Yep. Scan everything. That's the world that we live in. Scan it all. All right. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about that except he's looking at your zip files. No, I'm guessing that's not.
Yeah, and he's plotting how to make you eat bugs.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's become some sort of weird like agriculture guy now that wants to replace everyone's seeds with his freaking GMO seed, which he probably personally like ejaculates on every night. All right, we're getting a little way too off the rails here, like the train in Ohio, and all the other trains that have derailed, like in Montana and everything else. All right, okay, listen, just Microsoft, just stop scanning shit, okay? Just stop. All right.
Microsoft Defender.
All right. So if anyone is thinking conspiracies aren't real, oh man, Insider.com. The multi-millionaire entrepreneur infused himself with blood from his 17-year-old son in a quest to stay young forever. Now we already know that rich people like will get young people to like give them blood and like they make them eat healthy and stuff. And I have never heard of that happening with their son. It's just getting weird out there, guys. So if you're listening to the show and you're super rich and you want to stay young, here's a little tip for Packets and Bolts, okay? Hydrate well, eat well, exercise, all right? Stay off sugar, and don't take your blood, son. Don't take your son's blood.
No, but bathe in the blood of the village virgins like Elizabeth Bathory did several hundred years ago.
It's the only way.
It worked for her for a while.
Allegedly. We don't have actually proof.
Fucking rich people.
I know. Is there something that goes on when you're so rich you just have nothing else to do that you're just like, I think that should be cool. Let's try that. Is that what happens? Is that how they do it?
I don't know, but they're still doing this shit today. Like hundreds of years later, there's got to be something to it.
The best part about that is after that story, the jazz music's still playing. All right. OrlandoWeekly.com. Tool vocalist dresses in drag at all ages welcome to Rockville, flouting DeSantis anti-drag laws. So there you go. Nothing happened.
He looks sexy. He looks like the Joker.
Kind of,
Doesn't he in that picture?
Yeah.
I think that's what he was going for, yeah.
Yeah. So much has happened since our last episode. High school, this is, what is this? NBC15.com. High school reschedules graduation ceremony due to only 5 seniors found eligible to graduate. I think that's hilarious. Yeah.
That's like when swim lessons got rescheduled recently because they didn't have enough kids. It's bullshit. Just saying.
All right. In the constant war, the class struggle, what is this website?
Field and Stream.
Fieldandstream.com. Why are orcas attacking boats off the coast of Europe? So orcas are waging war on the wealthy on yachts.
Because orcas are also known as killer fucking whales.
One of the theories is that there was a matriarch that got injured by a net or something, maybe, and taught the other whales to hate yachts. Yeah. Well, if you're a whale and you're feeling angry and you want to talk to someone, email the show packetsandbolts@gmail.com or find us on Discord, Mastodon as well. We'll talk to you. We don't want anyone getting hurt. So, there's other ways to take your anger out. If you're finding yourself trapped by nets, etc., give us a call. All right. Android phones can be unlocked in 15 minutes using $15 equipment and new attack. And that's androidauthority.com. Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's technical details I don't want to go into.
It's too expensive. It's inflation.
It is an interesting attack, and this is from May. I don't know if it's been fixed.
That hack probably could have been executed for like $2-3 5 years ago.
The inflation. It says iPhones seem immune to the attack, and I didn't look to see if this has been patched or not, but there's some process where they can bypass the fingerprint. And in light of SysAdmin Day, I'm too lazy to find out if it's been fixed.
This is the brute print attack?
Brute print.
Are they running out of names for their vulnerability?
Who names these things? Yeah.
Because you had Heartbleed, and shit. They got to be running out of just normal fucking attack names.
Yeah.
What's next?
I don't know, malware.
We need to find a 0 day and make some bank and name it something fucked up.
There have been a bunch of 0 days. Actually, a couple weeks ago was insane.
And what'd they name it?
I don't know if there was a name.
Something stupid.
They probably ran out. They just called it what it was. Yeah, they're not creative anymore. We need to. Is this a job? Do you get paid to just name vulnerable
bug
exploits?
bounties? Yeah, man.
Yeah. Well, that's finding the bounty. I want to just name it. Like Elon Musk, where he thinks naming something is like half the effort. I named it.
Call up Bill Gates and see if he's got an opening.
Oh, he has openings. All right, so malwarebytes.com. KeyPass vulnerability allows attackers to access the master password. Isn't there a song like Master Blaster? But anyways, if you've got KeyPass, make sure you patch it.
But how do you patch it, Muskrat?
Well, you go to their product and say update.
They should do that automatically, bastards.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't think they auto update. I think you have to go in there and say update. Otherwise, grab the latest version. Make sure you're going to the right website if you're going to the website for download. You know that is. Release for the new update 2.54 is not expected for a few months. Now, this was in May. So, I'm assuming that's been patched. Check KeyPass for details. All right. Let's see here. There's so many of these things.
There's wars.
Yeah, there's wars.
There's drugs.
Let's talk about drugs. So in the never-ending crusade to make Wisconsin the dumbest state in our area, this is WISN.com. Minnesota's governor signs bill legalizing recreational marijuana. So what's next in Wisconsin? So we are one of the few states that doesn't even have medical marijuana. It's so bad. This map looks horrible. It's so bad. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with Wisconsin?
I don't know.
No, we need to start running. We need to run for the state legislature.
Yeah, it's gonna be bad.
Shit,
You're gonna have to run. You're gonna have to replace all of the current gerrymandered districts. I suppose we could what's it called? Primary them and see what happens, and just say, hey, we're not going to be dumb.
We can just run on a platform of weed.
just the weed platform.
So what are your thoughts on this issue? I have none. Weed.
just respond with one word. Everything's weed. Just weed.
And you know what? You get out the vote.
Yeah.
UW-Madison will carry us.
Well, the problem is we need enough legislators to flip, so you're going to have to go into the rural districts. But here's the deal. They can grow the weed. They got the farmland.
No, you're right. I mean, just getting elected is one thing, but then you got to deliver on your promise. And all these fucking legislators.
If they can call themselves that.
We need to interview somebody in the Wisconsin government. We need to
should.
get them on.
Yeah, we should. We should try that. See what happens. See if they come on the show.
What do you think, producer? Can we get them on?
Make some calls.
Thumbs up? All right.
Send some emails. If you're a legislator and you don't hate weed, email us showpacksandbolts@gmail.com. All right. Well, Amazon. Well, this is what is this?
30 million.
3newsnow.com. Amazon to pay more than $30 million in Ring Alexa privacy lawsuits. Oh. Yeah. You know, like they've got the whole like crew just sitting there watching video of people banging and doing everything else, right? Just like Tesla.
They're watching my neighbors. All my neighbors are under surveillance.
Tesla's doing the same thing. They were using the cameras and they were like watching everyone, and there was no controls. Like anyone had access to the feed. It's like, what is going on here?
Once a day, they get a view of my ass when I go out in my underwear to go collect the paper. Take that, Amazon.
You know what? I think I'm going to get a Ring doorbell, and I'm going to just put it in the toilet, and then it can just watch.
Are they waterproof?
I don't know.
They're battery
I'll
operated.
put it in an OtterBox.
Yeah, man, we got to do this. I don't want to see the footage, though. But
No, but the Amazon people will be sitting there. Oh, that'd be great. We got to do that. All right.
you post it on the Neighbors app. You know how Ring is integrated with Neighbors so that you can post footage. Hey, neighborhood alert. I just took a massive shit.
Someone keeps shitting on my lawn.
Oh,
Do you have the footage? Yeah, go look. Bezos personally witnessed that. All right.
That reminds me, SysAdmin Day, my resolution for the coming year, I need to work from the toilet more often.
Yeah. There should be
In this
cup holders.
day and age of remote work, why am I not doing that more?
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Yep.
Yep. It needs to be cup holders on the toilet.
Prioritized, yeah.
All right. ResearchGate.net. Psilocybin induces rapid and persistent growth in dendritic spines in frontal cortex in vivo.
It sounds excellent.
What this basically means, if I were to summarize it, is it grows
Makes your
brain.
grow.
It
Yeah.
grows brain. Grows brain.
We need to form a band called Dendritic Spines.
Dendritic spines in frontal cortex in vivo. That would be the in parentheses after
No. The band would be Dendritic Spines, but the front man would be Frontal Cortex.
in vivo. Or is that the bass player in vivo?
Yeah.
All right. I like it.
See, folks, we're giving you all these great ideas.
Yeah. There's nothing better than the thing about punk bands is it gives you the most freedom to name it. You can name it almost anything you want. Like nothing is out of bounds for a punk band name. And
No, I disagree.
no,
You couldn't name yourself like Meadow Full of Flowers or something like that.
yeah, you can pull it off.
It can't be happy.
You might be able
You
to
got
pull it
to
off.
fight the man.
Yeah, but you could name yourself that and then have it juxtaposed to the hateful and angsty-filled lyrics. See?
Oh, maybe.
Yeah. See, nothing's off limits, man. It's the freest form of music. Punk needs a revival. And for all you budding musicians out there, punk is really the only form of music that almost anyone, I say almost because it does take a little bit of effort, but it only really takes effort and drive and devotion. You can actually get in a band. You can actually tour. You're not going to be rich. You might make enough for gas money. You might not.
You might get fleas.
You might get fleas.
You'll be sleeping
hostels,
in basements.
yeah, hostels, cars, ditches, whatever, but you can do it. And no other, you cannot be in a rock band, like just out of nowhere. You can't just randomly say I'm in a rock band and like go multiple cities just finding random gigs. You can in a punk band. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Because you'll find a show that has like 5 or 10 other punk bands and you're playing for like 15 minutes and you're getting out of there. And hopefully you're getting wasted.
Yeah, and somebody's stealing your shit.
Maybe. But
then you'll steal somebody else's shit.
and then they might piss in your car. Who knows? The sky's the limit. Sky's the limit. But that is the only one. Every other form of music.
That's right. Might piss in, pissed officer.
This officer, yeah. Are they around still? So
classic band.
Any other form of music, you have to try a lot harder to get into that thing, right? Like if you want to tour the country or like go multiple cities in a rock band, you have to really have your shit together. Everyone has to know you. You have to be established. Punk band, no, you can get in there, man. You can get in there. It's great. It's great. It's freedom.
Sky's the limit.
It's the America, the real America of music. Mm-hmm. All right. What's this one about? Vice.com, USAF official says he misspoke about AI drone killing human operator in simulated test. What? I don't even remember putting this one out there. Did you put this one out there?
No, I think I told you about it and then you posted it.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember the fuck this is about. But basically, AI...
it's from June.
As I recall, they gave the AI boundaries, and AI was like, well, fuck that, and it found a way to basically disable something so it could circumvent the rules without breaking
and kill someone.
And killed somebody.
But then he says he misspoke. How do you misspoke about that?
They're trying to temper the dangers of AI.
Right. Yeah.
But the thing is that you can draw boundaries around AI, but then AI has the ability to learn faster than a human can, and AI can come up with ingenuitive ways to do something that we can't plan for. And that therein is the danger.
Yeah.
How can you regulate something that you can't understand or predict how it's going to behave?
Yeah, now the only argument, I agree in concept with what you're saying, but the argument I have is AI is not actually intelligent in any way. But,
Not yet.
But it's all just taking a bunch of data and regurgitating it. But you are correct. We don't understand. We've created these neural nets and stuff like that, and the code that is used to make decisions is so complicated. We can't know what it's actually thinking. So when we put rules in place, like you said, it can circumvent them, but it's not because it's an actual intelligence. So I'm not buying into this. Like in case in Mongoose, you're all about how the society is trying to divide us and everything. They're also trying to make people think that they're useless. They're trying to make people think that, machines are better, et cetera. And this is what AI, they're like telling everyone that AI is more intelligent, blah, blah, blah. But it really can't think. However, they've fed it all the data of other humans and it can take that data and do shit with it. Which is, I would say, is a copyright problem.
It's not sentient, right?
No, right.
But we can still provide it instructions, and
yes,
it can behave unpredictably
Correct.
and is dangerous.
It is dangerous.
It's clear as day the progression we're on. Look out 5 to 10 years from now, and it could be very dangerous.
Yeah.
So we got to get our arms around that.
It is, and they need to have laws. But with the tech industry in charge of like Washington, like Zuckerberg is jacking off Biden and everyone else over there. So, and and downloading new firmware to Mitch McConnell. I don't know if that was Zuck or Bill Gates or I don't know if he's got the Microsoft chip or the Tesla
like I said,
chip.
It's the Manchurian Candidate. It's almost taken from the script. Like, I swear to God, these guys are running a fucking program. I don't even know if they're really real anymore. They got elected at some point, and then you know what? The conspiracy theories about clones are starting to seem not so fucking crazy.
It's possible, yeah. And he does look like he's got rubber for skin, but I know he does Botox up the ass. And, I always wonder, in addition to the face, he does it in the ass too. But the point is, why do politicians do Botox? I just want to know. Okay, first of all, I don't agree with Botox in general, but let's take my opinion out of the mix. They're not movie stars. Do they think anyone cares about their fucking wrinkles? What is going on with these people?
Well, it depends on where they're shooting up. I mean, if they're shooting up in their cock.
Why they want a smooth, limp cock? Anyways, listen. Are they that much of a narcissistic breed that they just need to do this kind of crap all day long? It's weird.
Yes.
The answer is yes. All right. Well, here's one that'll enrage you. This is Yahoo.com. Musician told she'll be fined £5,000. This is British pounds for playing any instrument in her own home. Now, I haven't looked up for an update on this, but she was, I think, going to fight it. That was May 11th. So she was playing guitar in the day, and they complained, and she was going to be fined, supposedly. Yeah.
She must really suck.
She's an actual musician. What's her... you might know her.
Fiona Fay.
Is that who it is?
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know her.
No.
You don't?
I know
She's
her
semi-famous.
I read the article.
She's semi-famous. She tours and stuff. She's doing stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That's weird.
So what's she playing in her own home for?
She's practicing.
Get out there and tour, man.
Yeah, she's But in America, this I don't think would
join
work.
Join a punk band.
Yeah.
Anything goes, man.
Just cool.
You could join the dendritic spines or whatever the fuck it is.
In vivo. Prefrontal cortex. Or frontal, whatever. Here's another one for your mind. It's loudersound.com. Psychologist says people that listen to heavy metal think more logically and are less stressed than those who don't. I believe that.
It's true. And I think this article came out recently, but the study has been there for a couple of years. I remember hearing this on, I think, a country music radio station where everybody was sad. And the DJ started talking about how her husband was so happy and he listens to metal, and then the study, so.
Mm-hmm. There you go. And this is June 7th that this came out. And the picture they've got over there is really weird, and he doesn't look like a metal guy, but, whatever. He looks like fake metal.
Right. So, if you want to live a happier, more fulfilled life, I recommend everybody go out and listen to Cannibal Corpse daily.
Yeah. What is that? Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
All right, there's a metal.
Yeah, nothing will cheer you up like a little Cannibal Corpse hammer smash face. That makes people happy.
Mm-hmm. So for those that didn't see this, you got to look up the ABC7News.com. Las Vegas police respond to home after 9/11 call. Claims UFO with aliens crash in backyard. Now, there have been multiple videos where they show alien figures. I don't know if this is AI generated fake stuff. I don't know if this is more about the alien invasion that they're trying to make everyone believe in. If you listen to the Michael Horn interview last episode, obviously this is they want us to believe there's going to be an alien invasion so we can give even more money away to the military industrial complex.
Isn't that what Stephen Greer said?
That too. But this is weird that this story came out and the police supposedly saw something in the backyard. And there's videos of this weird alien thing behind a fence. But it's why would an alien hide behind a fence?
It's
E.T.
not an alien. It's like
E.T.
Bigfoot.
I don't know.
It's Sasquatch.
All right.
Yeti.
Drive-through brothels. Why cities are building sexual infrastructure. This is theguardian.com. This is what is this in Cologne? So France? No, Germany? Yeah, 2 years earlier, prostitution has been legalized across Germany. So, yeah, I mean, I think we need to stop criminalizing sex workers.
Well, let's face it, okay? So just look at the logistics of the workforce.
Mm-hmm.
We're introducing burger-making grinding machines. Rest in peace, Larry Page. And so that's going to force out all of the entry-level people. They can't work at McDonald's and flip burgers anymore. So now they got to whore themselves out. I mean, this is just the next logical step.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So kudos to the elites.
It should have never really been illegal. When they made it illegal, it created a lot more disease because that forced everyone into the alleys to have sex instead of the nice, comfy houses.
Instead of behind McDonald's by the dumpsters or in between two dumpsters in a tent.
Yeah. And then the pimps took over. And before that, it was madams. Nice, friendly madams, not pimps. But now we got pimps. So, congrats, America.
I like a world with pimps.
I mean, pimps are funny, but,
I like watching pimps get out of cars and do their pimp shuffle.
Yeah, I mean, it is nice.
I like their bling.
Yeah, that's true. That part's fine. But then they cut people. It's not good.
Yeah, no.
They just could have the pimps without the knives. Pimps Without Knives is a punk band song, punk band name. Pimps Without Knives, yeah. All right. If you're a pimp, email the show packetsandbolts@gmail.com, packetsandbolts@gmail.com. If you're listening to Packets and Bolts while you're working the streets, find us on Discord. The jazzy music, though, that's what does it. I love it. All right. Oh, no, this is a bad one. This is dig.com, dig with 2 G's. Could period blood cure diseases like Alzheimer's? Now, this is an actual legit thing.
Was it period blood from that guy's 17-year-old son?
No.
Because I'm seeing parallels here, right? We just talked about this, didn't we?
Well, this is from like menstrual, and not period like the Civil War period, but
right.
The
men can have periods nowadays.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Anyways, researchers have discovered that menstrual blood is a plentiful and easily accessible source of stem cells. Oh no, this is where this is going. Those clever little cells, I like how they call them clever little cells, that can be used to treat a whole host of diseases. Now, I don't think this is anything legit, but yeah.
Well, I mean, this is like when those women that eat placentas.
Well, societies do, yeah. It's a thing. You fry it up like a, omelet.
Do you fry it?
I think so. At least that's what I've heard. I've never done it. It's like an omelet.
We're looking at the producer.
Let's look up placenta eating. I think you fry it up. I don't know. You wouldn't eat it raw, would you? I know animals do in the wild, but you got to gain that energy back,
We need to get an answer on that.
All right. Well,
how do you cook placenta? Yeah.
While we're looking for that,
is there an alcoholic drink we could? No. Nope.
All right.
Never mind.
So
I know that's the first problem.
AlJazeera.com. Alleged body part theft by Harvard morgue manager spurs lawsuit. So if you didn't know this, they're basically body snatching. So if you want to know why our society is collapsing, look at the fact that people working at Harvard, where bodies are donated for science, are parting out dead people's bodies. This is insane. Can you even believe we're living in this society? Like, if this was your local university, that'd be one thing. This is Harvard.
So this reminds me of Burke and Hare. You heard that? You heard about them?
I don't think so.
They were 2 serial killers active in Edinburgh between 1827 1828.
Okay.
So they would lure women in, smother them, suffocate them, and then sell their bodies to a Dr. Robert Knox, who was a lecturer at the University of Edinburgh for experiments and dissections.
And they made money off this.
Oh yeah, yeah. Depending on the circumstances or the quality of the corpse. But Dr. Knox looked the other way. He did not.
He did not what?
He had no ethical qualms with this.
Oh yeah, see.
I mean, because like their profession to teach was like they needed bodies.
Yeah, see.
And he's like, man, this is a cheap way to get bodies.
Jeez.
Ooh. Oh no. I lost it.
I thought he found something really bad.
No, we're just looking up the. So here's how we eat placentas. So Hillary Duff, she drank her placenta in a smoothie.
Raw.
After it does not say if it was raw. I'm assuming raw. Because like I'm equating this with like an egg.
Well, you gotta cook that, man. I don't know.
You don't cook an egg when you put a raw egg in a smoothie. Raw placenta,
that.
man.
I get that.
Moms are also consuming placentas in pill form.
It is good. Yeah. It's good
That's
for
good?
you.
You've
It's
tried
good
that?
for you. No, but it's good for you. It's nutrition.
Well, supposedly, and I don't know if there's any proof of this, but they say that it's a preventative measure to combat postpartum depression
It probably is. Yeah.
and
I'd
stop
agree with that.
post-birth bleeding.
In
And,
nature,
I know Chrissy Teigen ate placenta, so if that tells you anything, this is horseshit.
in nature, animals eat their placenta. I don't know what to tell you. I mean,
Oh, soup? One Los Angeles food critic decided to take his wife's raw placenta, cut it up, and make a brothy soup based off a Chinese chicken soup recipe.
like egg drops. You.
Okay, so the smoothie recipe. It says that it pairs well with fruits and vegetables. It doesn't say. Oh, it is raw. It is raw.
All right.
Oh, wait, no. You can either freeze it into ice cubes, or you can plop it in there raw. It says verbatim. You can even plop it in there raw.
Okay.
Can make a boozy drink. I don't know the name of the drink, but you can garnish your favorite alcoholic beverage with some afterbirth. So we're gonna have to try that. Tacos, Taco Bell, placenta tacos. Anyone? British food and travel writer decided to go ahead and fry up his wife's placenta with some seasonings and make tacos. He said it was kind of like roast brisket. So there you go, folks.
All right.
When the elites decide that we can no longer eat meat, there is your alternative to eating crickets and bugs. Eat placentas.
Well, we'll have to get a recipe for the next episode. But in addition to, here's NewYorkPost.com. In addition to Harvard selling body parts, a Harvard behavior scientist who studied honesty accused of fabricating data. So more evidence society is failing. Here's SCO Online. Yes, SCOonline.com. SEC notice to SolarWinds CISO and CFO Royals cybersecurity industry. So they might be tried. This is June 27th. They actually might have legal consequences. Now, I only support that if they were actually like negligent, right? Just because they're the CISO during a breach doesn't mean they should be in.
But why the SEC?
Securities and Exchange Commission would be one regulatory. But I don't know if are they being accused of actually being negligent? I don't know were they ignoring, a bunch of shit? I have no idea. So I don't know enough yet to know if they were grossly negligent. Because I know some are. Now the CFO, here's the funny thing. The CFO, you and I know that sometimes CFOs run companies and they run them so cheaply and they skirt security practices. And I thought that was interesting because the CFO is named as well. So I don't know if that's an issue or what. I don't know.
This is odd.
Which part?
So it's a Wells notice. It's neither a formal charge of wrongdoing nor a final determination that the recipient has violated any law.
Yeah, they're looking and
So they've been put on notice that
Yeah.
they're being investigated for Ugh.
Yeah. Now, this was a pretty bad hack. Now, I don't know if they were just grossly negligent or ignored warnings from other people. I have no idea. But it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't, the state of our security in America, well, the world, is pretty bad. You and I know this. So we'll see.
Yeah, it says, who is this person? Ruby Mishra, CISO at KPMG India. So they interviewed this person. And Mishra said before issuing the notice, the SEC may have considered a variety of factors, including specific circumstances and legal frameworks, or may have demonstrated negligence if CISO failed to implement adequate security measures, neglected SEC policies, guidelines, and practices, or ignored known vulnerabilities. So it sounds like they're investigating SolarWinds for knowingly, obfuscating or downplaying.
And I think that needs it. So
this is good. This is good because companies need to be held accountable.
Yes. At some point, if people keep ignoring shit over and over again, it needs to be. If you don't do anything about it, in my opinion, we need stronger like building codes, but for digital. We need digital building codes. But I don't know how else to solve the problem because there's constantly people getting hacked. And it's because everyone wants to act like you can't protect yourself. But it's most of the time these places are so laxed and they just keep getting walked over.
Or they don't have the personnel or capability to identify it. I mean, the majority of breaches and hacks are discovered by the FBI or private citizenry. They're not discovered by the company at all.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. It was really bad. Like, we could tell you stories if we weren't subject to NDAs.
Yes.
There's a lot of bad stuff going on in the industry. All right. Okay, here's a quick one I had to tell you because it's funny. Well, first of all, Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk are going to have a cage match, supposedly. I think Zuck's going to win that one. Musk is not going to be able to fight. Here's Unilad.com. Man completely disappeared after finding cave near Area 51 claiming to have strong vibrations. So here's my theory. I haven't looked up the update. This is from June 26th or June 25th? June 26th. And here's my theory about the vibrations. It was probably a cave near Area 51 that had a bunch of contaminated radioactive stuff. And then he went in there and then he died. So that's my theory. If you go into a cave and you're vibrating, get the hell out of there. It's not good. And the Area 51 is known for radioactive contamination, so don't do this.
I don't know. I've seen that guy around.
He could be roaming around Wisconsin. All right.
Who knows?
So there's lots to make fun of the OceanGate CEO guy for. But we're not going to go too far into it, but I got to give this one because there was a time that they almost got stuck at the bottom of the ocean, and the CEO told them to sleep when they got stuck for 24 hours at the bottom until because the batteries were failed, until the dissolving cords allowed the weights to drop, and then it would rise to the surface. And luckily, the passengers convinced him, no, we're not going to sit down here for 24 hours. I don't think they would have survived that long at that depth, but luckily they told him not to, and then he was able to use hydraulics to release the weight early, and then they surfaced. So this probably would have been the crew to die if they hadn't been saved by forcing him not to. So just to make to show how incompetent that guy was.
So what I don't understand is the people that went down in this vessel were pretty fucking rich, right? These are all wealthy people. Mm-hmm. You can't find a better fucking way to go down to the bottom and see the Titanic wreckage?
Yeah, I don't know.
Than this thing?
This guy was
Maybe there are no other offerings, but
this guy was a charlatan and he really sold it. That's the problem.
How do you buy into a guy who's controlling this little submersible with a fucking PlayStation controller? I just don't get it.
You know what really ticks me off with the PlayStation controller? It was actually Logitech, but when everyone brings that up, the people on YouTube will say, well, actually, that wasn't as bad as it seems because the military controls things in their subs with Xbox controllers. But here's the caveat, guys. For everyone out there, because you guys don't do any more research than like 2 seconds, the use of controllers in the Navy and stuff is for things like a periscope or a drone, not an important drone, just like some drone, not the sub's control system. All right? So stop acting like they're controlling the sub with an Xbox controller. They have real controls, physical, and even if
they're not fucking wireless.
I know. And here's the thing: even if they were using an Xbox controller, they'd have the physical controls there in case the thing failed. You don't just go down how many 3,000 meters with a wireless Bluetooth. You know how many times Bluetooth fucks up? We're network engineers. We wouldn't put our lives in the hands of Bluetooth.
Well, do you remember the right after the thing imploded, they had a job posting for the, and one of the job requirements is understanding have duplex communications. Do you remember that?
Jeez. Yes, it was quite funny.
And we looked at it and we're like, is this a joke? But no, apparently that was a legit job posting. That's how fucked up that company was.
Well, man, it's deep in the ocean. You can only talk one way at a time, man.
You know what? Rest in peace. I'm glad they felt no pain, because they really didn't.
Yeah. All right, people.com. U.S. breast milk contaminated by 25 kinds of flame-retardant chemicals, research says. And that's why I never bought into the flame-retardant chemicals. It's all toxic shit. Don't use it.
There's no getting away with it now.
I know,
though,
it's a lot.
Everywhere. All the microplastics.
They've gotten a little bit better. Some of the bedding now meets some sort of standard. I can't remember what it's called, but it's to be less toxic, so maybe you won't die as fast from all the toxic.
But at least your baby will be fireproof.
Yeah. Well, I don't. Okay. Anyways, all right. So
it stands to reason.
Reuters.com.
There's 25 kinds of flame retardant chemicals. Damn, dude, this baby can walk through flames.
Well, you know, you're going to need it with the heat waves that are coming.
Right.
So Reuters.com, Meta, Microsoft, hundreds more own trademarks to new Twitter name X. And what? Okay, Elon, why did you pick X? Seriously.
What is the infatuation with X? He's got SpaceX. He tried to name one of his kids X.
Oh, help me.
And now it's going to be Twitter X or X.
He's going to get sued, so I don't know.
There's something weird behind this.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's the headlines. Friday, July 27th. Oh, wait. Friday, July 28th.
That's right. It's SysAdmin Day.
SysAdmin Day. All right.
And I took the day off.
As you should.
Yeah, I deserved it.
Yes. All right. We're going to roll right into the emails because we're doing a new format today. Not a word from our sponsor. But don't worry, Hank Carlson, he'll be back. Now, Hank is actually the signing name of the first email, and I hope it's not Hank Carlson. But we'll see here. Did you have something to say, Mongoose, before we go into the email?
No, I'm on the edge of my seat right now.
Right.
Because Hank hasn't put out any new commercials in like 3 years.
Well, you know, he did go through the pandemic. I don't know what's going on there. I haven't been down to Madison.
Is he even alive?
I haven't been down to Madison for a while.
He's just controlled by a government program like McConnell or Hillary.
He should run for office. That's what we should do. Get him to run. Yeah. All right. So Hank writes, and I don't think this is Hank Carlson. It's not the email address I'm aware of. Okay, the UFO hearings are crazy. What is going on with all this stuff? Well, first of all, Hank, if you didn't hear our Michael Horn interview last week, that tells some of it. But I do think part of this is some sort of a misinformation, disinformation campaign. I just don't know what the point is other than military spending. That's my current guess. I don't know what you got there, Mongoose.
I got nothing.
All right. Coolz, Koolzy writes, you need to do a show on the music industry. Also, what gear do you recommend for starting musicians that want to play out?
First gear.
First gear. Is that a brand? I don't know.
No, he said what gear when you're starting out? You start out in first gear.
Oh my gosh.
What's that old 50s song?
First
gear, it's all right. Second gear, hang on tight.
The producer missed the drum.
Producer's first day on the soundboard.
All right.
Just play any sound. Come on.
So,
give it to us.
Ahoy there, matey!
All right.
oh, we should have done that with the rum daiquiri.
Yeah, man.
Uh-oh, the storm's coming. All right. Well, before the storm gets here, real quick. Okay, music industry. Recommended. Well, first of all, we should do a show dedicated to the music industry because I think it's complete garbage now. Like the official industry. The indie industry is legit. But you have to go peel the layers. The official garbage coming out from, like, I don't know, what is it even? Sony? Are they even around anymore? Like, whoever those guys are, they suck. But I don't know what to tell you there.
What, the K-pop?
Well, just the entrenched industry is garbage. So I don't know what to say about that. But what would you do for if you needed to, like, play out? If you're not going to be a working band, like you're only doing it on a hobby, you could probably get away with like a $200 to $300 guitar. I mean, I'm assuming there's a guitar player. I don't know. What would you say for a bass? I don't know.
Save up your money and buy a $5,000. No, I mean, you get what you pay for. If you're just starting out, you buy something that's solid but not too flashy, and you're going to end up paying, between $400 and $800 for a guitar. And maybe $800 sounds steep, but again, you want a solid one. And I've got a couple $800 guitars, and they're not flashy; they're solid, right? But then at some point, you're like, man, I got to invest in something good, and it makes all the difference. I swear.
Yeah.
Your amp, you don't feel like you got to blow the house down right away, unless you're a bass player.
Yeah.
Then you're gonna want that 1,000 watt amp.
Well, yeah. So I'm not talking amps yet, but for a guitar, I still think if you're not a working musician, you just want to play out and you want to have a practice system and play every once in a while. I think there are, especially on the Asian, like China there's some good brands coming out that are in the $200 to $300, maybe $400 range. But yes, otherwise in the solid mid range, $800. But then you quickly jump up to like the $1,200 range and all that stuff. But yeah, because you can get like what is it, a Mexican Strat? What do those go now? I don't know what those go for.
When I bought my first Mexican Strat, and this is 25 years ago, I think I paid $350
so that'd
for
probably
it.
be like $800 now.
Yeah. Inflation. Biden's America.
All right. Well, anyways, we could have a whole gear talk, but back in when we started going with the punk band, I went out and bought an SG, a Gibson SG. Now, Gibson, for those that don't know, modern Gibsons, from everything I've been hearing, are overpriced and have problems with staying in tune. They have quality issues. So I don't think I would recommend that now. But back then, I think it was like a $600 or so Gibson SG, and it's good. I would like to replace the tuners. Even that one, I think, could use better tuners. But other than that, everything else is pretty good about it, if you like an SG. But some people don't. So
I would also recommend building a rapport with your friendly neighborhood luthier.
Yes, luthier.
I was telling you, my one of my basses is the intonation's fucked, and I'm getting some string rattle. It just popped up out of nowhere. The humidity changes when you're playing a lot, and I've learned over time that I would just rather take it to an expert.
Yeah.
So I don't mess with the truss. I just take it in.
Yeah.
It's me a few bucks, but you build a rapport with your guy, and it's painless and it's not too expensive. So.
All right, well, email the show packetsandbolts@gmail.com, packetsandbolts@gmail.com. Find us on Discord, Mastodon, OnlyFans. Try the VPN, Packets and Bolts VPN. If you find it, we'll give you a high five. Exit note on
Hillary servers.
HillaryServers.com. Exit note on HillaryServers.com. We should get that domain.
They're on Epstein Island, too. I'm pretty sure that's where they want. Or, I don't know. Whatever.
All right. Well, it is SysAdmin Day. Yeah, I know. We're just celebrating SysAdmin Day. We're just celebrating.
Let's go get another drink.
We should have another drink.
Be right back.
All right.
Sorry. We're back.
We're back. Email the show, packetsandbolts@gmail.com, packetsandbolts@gmail.com. It is Friday, July 28th. SysAdmin Day. SysAdmin Day. SysAdmin Day, SysAdmin Day.
If anybody cares, because most people don't.
I know. I've actually sent it out to like IT departments in the past when I've, for the
and they care.
thing. Well,
They care.
actually, they're always like, huh? I'm like, do you not know this is an actual thing? All right, we
get no appreciation.
That's true, even by our own clan. So we just refilled on the daiquiris, and I wanted to, I forgot, I couldn't remember what the name of the rum is. This is State Line Distillery Spirits Awakened. It is rum distilled from 100% molasses, and that is very important. It's like tequila with 100% blue agave. There is a difference. There is a difference, just like the cat says. I don't know if that can be heard by the listeners, but there is a difference. And if you get 100% molasses rum, it gives that unique flavor. I can't describe it other than it's molasses. That's all I can tell you. So, cheers. It's SysAdmin Day. All right. What we need to do is create a special effect that just says SysAdmin Day and keep pushing the button over and over again.
We need developers to make that happen.
Yes, we do. AI. All right. Well, what's been going on for the last year? We're just gonna do our yearly rant about sysadmining.
We do this every year.
Sysadmining. I think that's how you'd say it. So we've had guests on before that talk about like DevOps and things like that. This year it's going to be all network all the time because that's what you got.
Because that's what everything rides on the network.
That is true.
And when issues happen, it's always the network. So
that's true. And unfortunately, network bears the brunt of everyone's pain. So when something goes wrong, they're like the network. Whether it is or not.
Yeah, and when you have integrations with other entities or other companies, it's always your network. So it's double jeopardy.
Double jeopardy. So a famous example of this is I'm going to give, we're going to go into war story mode. So pull up your own drink and let's talk some war stories. So I was in a previous position, and I was shepherding the network and voice team. And the issue was, okay, so you know how apps teams, a lot of companies have apps teams, quote unquote. And depending on the company, apps team could be app developers, or there could be like app admins, and all they are doing is, they are responsible for the application.
Or they could be people with inflated egos that call themselves DevOps engineers, that are really just apps people that have inflated ego. So
let's get into that, because when you say inflated ego, are you trying to say DevOps is superior to developers?
They think they are.
Oh, okay.
But right. They also think they know things that they don't have any fucking clue or understand.
That's all too common in all IT. But in this case, apps team, AKA, was application administrators. So they were not developers. They just managed the app. And oh man, was it painful, because they would send stuff to us all the time. Now, on this particular day, I was trying to get out of the office, and we got a ticket, and they said it says network error. I'm like, oh my gosh, how many times have I had to explain to you that the people that wrote the app, not the apps team, obviously, this is a third-party application, when it loses connections with things, and that could be for multiple things, it could be timeout, it could be, whatever, it's going to say network error. It has nothing to do with the network necessarily. It might, and I'm sorry that the developer chose to put in the error message, network error.
You know what my rebuttal is always? Well, the network is fine. I think you need to check the network stack on your server. That's my rebuttal.
That would imply they knew what the network stack was on the server.
No, they always require clarification. That's how I punt back at them.
Right. Well, what happened was we got a call going and brought in them and the vendor, only to find out that the problem was on the server. The server was not responding, and ba-doom, not the network. We just need a sitcom where it like ends with some sort of cheesy music and says, "Not the network."
Yeah, I got a on-call call like I do way too often. Fortunately, in the job I'm at now, I'm not on call as much as I was before because it used to be like every fucking week. And it takes a toll because you're always thinking in the back of your mind, whatever I'm doing in my personal life, I could get called. Well, anyway, I was on call and I got called. And it is someone in, I think, Mexico, because there was an integration between the Mexican team, which was a different partner company, and this particular company. And they said that we can't, it's not working, it's your network. And it comes over their MPLS and terminates, where it transits a router that's managed by the ISP. And it got to our firewall because, of course, there's firewall segmentation between these two companies. And I saw it come through the firewall. And, of course, as a network person, you're like, what's the IP tuple, right? What's the source IP, the destination IP, source port, destination, blah, blah, blah. So immediately, I'm tracing the path. I'm looking for errors. I'm pinging the source machine from multiple switches and routers. I'm pinging the destination from multiple switches and routers. Every which fucking way I pinged, and the ping was successful. So, look, I can ping everything.
Can ping it all.
Now, that's not to say that there's not a network issue, right? Because I've seen shit before, and we've done an episode on Cisco SD-WAN. I remember there was a time where we ran at this one company a zone-based firewall on the stupid SD-WAN C-Edge routers, and it had a bug where it was dropping, specific traffic because of some bug.
Yeah.
But there was nothing like this. I saw it come through the firewall. Everything's fine. There's no more firewalls. And it ends up at a VMware host.
Uh-oh.
And so ultimately, after sitting on this fucking call for 2 hours and multiple people saying, it's the network, I said, I got to the point that I was like, look, I'm writing up my findings. It's not the network, and I'll have the findings for you shortly. And in a half an hour, I posted the longest fucking chat message of ping responses and justification why it's not in the network. And I said, I'm logging off. I'm done with you guys. And I haven't heard a word since because you know what? It wasn't the fucking network. Fucking grief. This is all the fucking time.
Boo! All right. Yeah. So we have examples up the yin-yang that I could talk about this. We were going to have admin Mike, I believe, come on. He wasn't able to make today. But we are kindred spirits with server guys and gals. And the thing is infrastructure, right? Network usually gets lumped in with infrastructure. And then there's the voice team. We don't want to leave Dub Stench out, he's not here to defend himself. But the voice, so bad. Because first of all, you'll get blamed. Sometimes the voice people blame the network. But a lot of times, it could be any random. It could be the voice servers. It could be the carrier. And unless you have a good voice team, you have to worry about getting blamed by even them. So I don't know if the voice people are necessarily our friends. I've been friends with voice people, but they can be on the pitchfork side too, trying to roast the network. Everything rides on the network nowadays.
Yeah.
It used to be a voice network was separate. When I got into the industry, there were still digital analog lines running separately from the network. But now it's all converged, baby. Converged. It's converged.
Now, I will say I've been blessed in my career that I can't recall working in a capacity where I've worked at voice engineers that just sucked or blamed the network blindly. To this day, I've been blessed to work with some pretty good voice engineers. So
Yeah.
I haven't really had that problem. But, I mean, it's not just voice people, right? I mean, again, we're not bashing voice people. Like, developers are the fucking public enemy number one.
Public enemy number one. It's not their fault. They're not trained like they used to be. Back in the day, programmer had to know like how everything worked. Now they almost know how nothing works. They know their API calls and they know stuff like that. They don't understand when something doesn't respond. Is 8 million reasons why it might not be responding. It's not always the network.
All you have to do is take a look at a developer's data flow diagram.
Oh no.
For an illustration about how they don't fucking understand the network.
Wait a minute. You get data flow diagrams from them? I can't even get that.
When there's an application that's having issues and they blame the network, I ask for a data flow diagram. And as part of that, I ask, what servers do all these fucking components of your application
No, it's
live on?
serverless, baby. It's serverless.
And if you're lucky, they know what servers they live on. But they don't know where the servers live. So you need the server guys to help decipher that. But ultimately, then you have this conversation, well, it's not working because you didn't request any firewall rules because your fucking web server's here and your fucking database is here or something to that effect, and they just don't fucking get it.
So the issue was it was never working then because they never requested the opening. That's question number one. Was this ever working? That's question number one.
When did this break?
Well, it never worked.
Well, and that's not really
Then
a good
it's not my
question because maybe it never worked. And like, when did it break? And then they're all like, and they won't tell you it's new. They never tell you it's new.
Yeah, why is that, developers?
They
Give us
open up a
call.
trouble ticket.
We need to have a
They're
call
like,
line.
oh shit, outage bridge. Dude, this is new.
So, yeah, why don't they do that? We need to have the developers call in. We need a hotline. I think we need to register an 800 number. Let's get DubSense to get us an 800 number.
We need a
Call
DID.
the show. Call the show. I guess that's supposed to be a phone ring. Hello, caller.
Producer, you have to hit that really fast to make it sound like a dial tone or like a ringtone.
Oh,
There we go. All right.
Hello, caller. You're on Packets and Bolts. Hi, I got a problem. My app can't talk. Well, what are the servers involved? It's serverless, baby.
All right, so this is an internet-based connection. What IP are you? What IP? Oh, it's 10.1 dot going over the internet. Yeah.
It doesn't have an IP. It's on the internet, baby.
You can't route private. I mean, the list goes on, right? I mean, I'm just off the top of my head, the stupid shit we hear.
Yeah, we need to get a developer on the show, and we want to be friends. We want to be friends, developers. We're not ripping on you too much.
I am.
We just long for the days of the full stack. And when I say full stack developer, I mean not the people that just do like because I guess now the definition of full stack means they also do like graphics and stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. People that know the layer 1 all the way up to management layer.
They don't know layers though. They're like, my app doesn't work. I'm like, I see your fucking traffic going through, but I don't give a shit about layer 5 and above. Fix your shit.
They'd argue you do.
In my first internship in IT, the first day I walked in and I was introduced to the team, it was at a local technical college. And there was one network guy, there was a couple systems guys, and they were nice. And then they took me into the back room, and there was a group of developers, and they just looked at me, beady-eyed, and they didn't know how to talk, and they cowered beneath their desks. I'm not kidding.
Dramatic effect.
No, I'm serious.
Ooh, I think you've offended the IT gods.
the app gods. If such a thing exists.
Yeah. So if you didn't hear, the listeners didn't hear, the thunder is rolling here.
But what do they say about network guys? I'll tell you a story. I was at a music festival, and I was there with a buddy of mine who I used to be in a band with, and his girlfriend was there, and we got to talking as we're watching this band, and I found out she worked for AT&T, and she had been in charge of like their Skype deployments or some shit, so she was part of that team. And I don't know if she knew who the fuck I was, Do you know who the fuck I am, lady? No, she said, she's like, the biggest assholes in IT are the network guys. And I said, I'm a network guy. And you know what? The reason we're such assholes is because we have to fix everybody else's shit.
Did you tell her that?
Yes, I did. No qualms.
So what was she doing there? She was a Skype deployment person?
Yeah, she was, in charge of like something with Skype.
I guess network guys can be dicks. I try not to be, but sometimes you get to a point where you just have to state things bluntly, and that can come off as a dick because you're just like, no, and you have to dispute things with people that don't know as much as you do about the thing you're talking about. And at some point, what do? You either like concede to the wrong idea, and then you just accept a wrong premise, or you just say, no, that's not how it is. And then there's any number of tactics. You can attempt to be, walk them through it, but that can seem condescending. You can just tell them blatantly, but then you're an asshole. There's sometimes no way out.
Well,
there's no way out from being a dick.
I think it's the Tower of Babel phenomena, right? We're all speaking different languages.
Yeah.
But their language sucks. Like, they can't even figure out a language to standardize on.
Well, it's because they're developers. They want all the languages, man. They want to change it every day.
C#, they can't even figure out what C they like. C#, C++.
C.
Yeah. And then throw in some Perl and some Python, whatever the fuck,
Perl necklace, yeah.
They're still playing with COBOL.
Sometimes, yeah.
Like, figure it out.
Yeah.
And, then they're talking about all this shit. And, like, that's the thing. You get on a troubleshooting call, it's a network problem. And then you ask them for any feedback, and they get in these stupid it's like, look, I need an IP address.
I hope that's not how you tell them that.
No comment.
That is funny because when you get on these calls, other people are able to try to tell you why it's the network. But the moment you sit there and say, well, here, this is what's happening and I'm getting this error, and so could it be the database or this or that, they immediately dismiss any idea you ever come up with. But yet they'll be like, the network obviously must be breaking the connection. And they expect you to do due diligence, but they'll dismiss anything like this. It could be a database issue, a storage issue, yada, yada. And then they just like, no, I got none of that. None of that.
I spent literally 3 weeks, and I still don't know if it's resolved. And in just 3 weeks recently, because this shit has been going on since like late fall last year when we deployed this architecture for this particular client. And they've had voice quality issus. Well, this client has client-issued workstations in this remote site that they initiate an SSL VPN to their head end, and through the client's network, they reach out to NICE and Contact for their voice solution, okay? Well, they're getting call disconnects and poor call quality. Well, it's always our fucking network. And I spent 3 weeks, and not just me, multiple engineers, because other people got roped in. Maybe Mongoose is an idiot. And, I lost my train of thought. So Mongoose is an idiot, so we're looking at, for errors. But we do a test where we have one of our workstations that's operating outside of a proxy, just direct connect and a test to NICE and Contact, and we get superior results, okay? Mm-hmm. Pristine results, bandwidth, throughput, no jitter, no moss, like problems. Then you run the test from their workstation through their SSL VPN. We mess with the MTU. We tried diverting them on a different architecture, different data center. We even altered the fucking path through the data center and re-architected shit, and the shit is still going on. And yet we still have people at our company that are like, we are not going back to the client and telling them that this is their problem because it's our fucking network. Okay, buddy. I've been working nonstop on this. We've executed 6 changes in everything we can possibly do. In a couple weeks, we're actually replacing the core switches, which are exhibiting no fucking issues because you say it's the network.
Nice.
Tell us what else we should do.
You should use that as an excuse to get all new gear.
And sometimes you just can't speak reason. You can't. The job of a network engineer for anybody who's starting out in the industry is to prove it's not the network.
Yeah, it's bad.
That's your primary job. It's not to set up new network architectures. It's not to configure interfaces or configure VLANs or get more complicated than that. It's to prove it's not the network.
Which proving a negative is impossible. Yeah,
Exactly.
Right. Prove innocent until proven guilty is not how it goes in the IT world. Show us it's not the network, which basically means you have to prove something else is the problem before they let you off the hook. It's actually quite annoying. It is.
There's no due process.
Yeah, there isn't. We need a jury of our peers.
Do you know what boggles my mind is, a lot of network engineers and like my experience as a desktop support technician, which I did some of it in my internship before I got into networking. In Muskrat, you did a whole lot more of that, and you were even like dabbling in servers before you got heavy into networking, right? In your background, but like most of us, at least, that have been in the industry for a while, have some of that experience. It boggles my mind how we're forced to troubleshoot workstation issues sometimes.
Yeah, I know.
Because these desktop engineers, so to speak, they don't understand. I mean, how are you a desktop engineer and not understand how to open up the developer tools in a browser?
Well,
To look at the fucking HTTP error codes to determine that it's not a fucking network
they're
problem.
not developers.
Like, I'm a broken record. I get on these outage calls, and it's not the network. And I tell them that. I'm like, well, it's not the network. Why don't you open up the developer option? Let's see what's going on with the HTTP. What was the HTTP response? Oh, you're getting a 403 forbidden? Not a network fucking problem. Do you know what a 403 is?
You can look this stuff up. It's all online.
But they don't even know it's there.
No, that is sad.
Or they'll be like, or they'll feign that they know it's there. Oh yeah, I know where that's at. Yeah. Why didn't you look at this before? You called me in.
It's a skills gap. So I taught, as you know, for 10 years, and the biggest reason I got out of it at the end was the less and less students actually cared. But any given years, even in the good years when I was enjoying it, I only had at the max 5 students that I would ever personally recommend for getting hired, even in a class of like 20. So I don't know, what is that? 5 out of 20. It's a
Producer, what's the?
it's a
25%. 20%? 25?
yeah.
25%.
So at the most, and usually it was only 1 or 2, and out of however many, I'd have to look at my records. The funny thing is I kept records of all my students because for those that don't know, I offered the star king. So this comes from training I took in Chicago, Schaumburg actually. There was some guy from New York that great Brooklyn accent, and it was a week-long training back, and I still miss to this day. I still think that a lot of training has become virtual now, and you don't get the same thing you do as being in person. You can still do in-person training, but almost no one does it, and it's really a lost thing because going there. I mean, first of all, when you're doing virtual training, you're almost always frickin' doing some work shit on the side because someone hits you up and you're using your work laptop to do virtual, and then you're answering questions. But if you can take on-site personal training, do it. So this guy was funnier than hell, told insane stories, and I don't know if I've told this story on the podcast before. Maybe I'll save it for another day. He told this amazing story when he worked for some interconnect, and he made a joke, and he got kicked out. But anyways, he told us, if you don't have a sense of humor, this is not the class for you. And he gave star points. He would ask random questions. Most of it was technical related to the training, but then he would ask all off-the-wall shit. And he would award, and he kept track of the star points. And he said at the end of the week, you will be awarded the star king or queen. And so I continued that tradition in my class for 10 years or however long I taught. And I have the spreadsheets that have the points.
There's like Mario Brothers undercurrents here. Does the Star King make you invincible?
So for years, I used to tell my kids, you get nothing except you can put on your resume. Anyways, for years, I told my kids that I was going to take a Burger King crown. I never did this, and I should have, but I just didn't feel like doing it. I was going to take a Burger King crown and wrap it in tinfoil, and then I was going to take it to my classes and give that to them. I never did that. I should have. So for all you, potential teachers out there, do that. And then I was going to do something else with a drumstick. I was going to make a wand. So here's the deal. Here's another thing I was going to do that I never did. I was going to take 2 Cat 5 cables, or it could have been 1. I was going to wrap them around the drumstick with the Ethernet, the RJ45 pointing forward, and that was going to be my wand. I was going to tie it up either with duct tape or with cables. And that was going to be my network wand, and I was going to use it as a visual prop to do stupid stuff in class.
Your throughput's going to suck on that. Like there's no better use for a Cat 5 cable these days than to make a wand.
Yeah, there you go. That's going to be great. But I didn't do any of that, and I should have. It was going to be the network wand.
You can run a gig on Cat 5, can you? Or is it just 100 meg?
Well, Cat 5e for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could probably get away with it,
Shorter distances,
The funny thing is, you're in this business long enough and you get weird ass stuff. And I'm actually surprised at the new generation of people coming on board know less and less, which is one of the reasons I got out of teaching. First of all, they didn't give they didn't give 2 shits. They were like surfing Facebook. Nowadays, I'm curious what it would be like, because now the younger kids don't like Facebook. So would they be on Instagram or TikTok? I don't know.
Snapchat.
TikTok and stuff. Yeah. I don't know. So Snapchat, yeah. But they were like surfing, and even if I tried, I would block them and stuff. But anyways, it was dumb. And once I realized that no one gave a shit about being there, I was like, I'm gonna get out of here. But the generations coming into the workforce are also lesser knowledgeable. Now, again, they'll get trained, and hopefully they'll, I have faith they'll learn, and But one of the weird things is Cat 5, right, or Cat 5e. So if you know anything about the physical layer, so you'll have these servers, and all of a sudden, a server or any device, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's only doing 100 meg, and you'll look on your interface thing, and you'll be like, is this server, an ancient server? Is it only 100 meg? Like, no, it's, blah, blah. Okay, your cable's bad. And so what do we know about network cables? You need all the pairs to be a gig. And if you have a bad connection, it's going to go down to 100 meg. So just the fact that the modern network, people don't even know that you need all the pairs to be running at a gig speed or above. It's like, what are they being taught? Are they being taught these simple, physical things? I don't know. And since so much stuff is virtual, do they even care? How many times do they encounter a cable? I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, I'll tell you, in my experience right now, we have a team that handles outages and things like that. And their first thing, what they'll do is they'll find out what can't reach what. They'll ping, and then they'll run a trace route. And then they'll escalate to network engineering. And then you'll get on the call, and they'll sit there and they won't say a fucking thing until I'm like, this is your fucking outage. You escalated me for help. What do you want me to do? Well, here's the trace route. Here's the ping. You haven't done anything else. So I mean, I agree.
They need mentoring. I get that.
And I think a lot of us are trying to mentor these folks. Some of them care, some of them don't. But that's forever. You're gonna have people that care and people that don't. But
yeah. We could have a whole show on that, because I'm seeing a change in the newcomers, and we probably should do a whole show on this, because I think less people. Well, I know, I've been told that less people are even going into the schools for technical stuff. Now, when I was, I came into this industry in the turn of the century. So I came in the .com bubble burst right after I graduated. So it was a pain in the ass to get a job. But there was so many people, and they redid the whole IT area to do this. Now that's all been dismantled and it's gone to nursing. And I agree, there's a nursing shortage and there needs to be that. I don't even know, but I've been told that enrollment in technical stuff is way down. And
it's crazy because it is profitable.
It is.
Now I get nursing. There's a shortage, and traveling nurses make bank.
Oh yeah, they do. Yeah. It's insane, actually.
And they're good.
Yeah. And we need nurses. I have no qualms about that.
Yeah, I had, last year, as I had a bad bout with kidney stones, a couple surgeries, and, a couple of my nurses I talked to were traveling nurses, and they were the best nurses I had during that time. Like, they know their shit, and they make bank.
Yeah. It's like consulting. Yeah. But what I don't understand, I think we've said this before, and I've noticed this. The younger generations are, the media says they're more technological than any other generation, but what they really are is they use technology more than any generation at their age before. Of course, not more than like, I was using computers like way back. My dad was like into computers before anyone. But in general, Gen Z uses technology in proportion to the population more than any previous generation. However, they understand how it works less. And in addition, they don't even have the curiosity of how does it work. They don't even want to know. They don't care. So even the ones that get into the industry are less looking at like, how can I really dig in? Because if you want to like climb the technological ladder, you have to really go deep, in my opinion. Now, could you be a developer and make it without going deep? Maybe, yeah, but that's development. That's different.
Well, I mean, is some of that apathy a product of the complexity of the technological landscape now? Because I know that if I'm learning about something, if it's got immediate practical implication, it's more intriguing to me. Like, I can learn this and I can do something with it. But to build the basis for proper understanding and troubleshooting, you have to understand concepts that aren't as flashy or appealing, because now you're dealing with a landscape of, micro-segmentation and hyper-convergence, and you got containers and you got cloud and you got all this stuff that, it's daunting to kids. But they have to get the foundation in the practical networking or any IT discipline before they can even get there.
There might be some of that. So with so many abstraction layers, it is daunting. However, what's funny for the old timers, when all this weird new shit comes, we almost immediately, after taking like a look at it under the covers, we realize it's actually old shit being regurgitated. So, my famous joke is in the 90s when VMware, me and my friend who's no longer with us, we were sitting in his computer lab at home. When I say computer lab, like anyone that's serious about computers has a lab. It's either a home office, they might say nowadays, but it's actually a lab. They have tinkering shit and, all this stuff. We were sitting there messing with VMware when it was a free product in 98 or something. And I'm like, Now, I thought it was interesting for x86 because it was relatively new. But anyone that knew anything about computer history knew that people were virtualizing shit in the 60s and shit. So people would virtualize stuff on the mainframes. So if anyone doesn't know this, Bill Gates was testing, he wrote BASIC for that, the Altair. He virtualized the Altair on some mainframe system that he was using off a university or something like that. He was paying for time, or maybe got it for free, which, in our world, the rich usually get stuff for free, and not because he was rich, because it was like probably a perk he had from the university he was going to.
No, he's an alien.
Well, that too, but he got to get that time, whether he paid for it or it was free, I don't know. But and then he was writing the BASIC for the Altair. Anyways, this is all like almost every new thing you hear about is a regurgitation. That's one of the reasons I'm so cynical and I make fun of all the new technology. None of it's actually real. Like serverless is not serverless, but I'm not going to get into that. So it's always funny to the people that know the history, but I think you're right a little bit that it is anyone coming into this without that deep knowledge is going to just be like, this is insane. Like, I don't even know what the hell we're doing here. Like, there's so many layers of abstraction. But there's a guy that we're trying to get on the podcast. You've met him. He still hasn't committed. And he says, and I get what he's saying. He says there's a certain generation, and by that I think he means like the X generation or the older Y generations, where you grew up doing what? Messing with DOS. And if you wanted to get your game to run, you had to fuck with a whole bunch of weird ass settings to free up just enough RAM, or to get expanded memory, or if anyone remembers expanded versus extended memory, it was like such a shit show, and you had to do all this weird ass tinkering. And even if you weren't a technical person, just because you wanted to play a fucking game, you had to dig in to levels of crap you didn't really want to do just to play this game. And then you grew up. And so when you started to get into these technical things, you're like, well, that's not so hard. And that's what's missing, because everyone now uses technology from the day they're born. It's all point and click. You never have to go under the covers. And then when you get into IT and you have to touch anything below the surface, you're just like, oh my gosh, this is insane. I don't know what the hell is going on.
And it's like the kids that like, I want to develop video games. Well, you play video games and you know they're fun to play, but do you realize the background and programming that you have to have, and you're going to have to become a developer, and developers suck. And I'm kidding.
We kid. We love the developers. We love them.
But is some of this also a product of? I wonder sometimes that with all the flashiness, everybody's pinned to a screen these days, and there's so much coming at us that. I mean, that's where the anxiety comes from, and we're dealing with like a global pandemic. They don't want to talk about it, but it's a global pandemic of anxiety with younger kids.
Yeah.
And the rise in so-called autism, whether you believe in that or not. I mean, it's got ties to anxiety, okay, but autism. People with autism that are diagnosed with it, they can't focus for a long period of time. They're not stupid people.
Right.
And we know that some of them are savants. But what they can do, they focus in small slices of time. And they can consume a very large amount of information, but they can't focus. So when you get, and you have to focus on learning something, that takes time, maybe where they're at isn't conducive to that. You know what I mean?
Well, we know that attention spans in general with children, all children, is down.
Well,
and I think it's apps.
Even
personally.
All the generations for the last several generations, we've seen a deterioration of attention spans. You look at the 19th century, you would have politicians giving speeches
yes.
for 2 hours.
Yeah.
You look at the Gettysburg Address. Lincoln spoke for a very short amount of time in his historical speech. He was preceded by Edward Everett, who gave like a 2-hour speech.
Yeah.
And people were used to sitting there and listening to it and paying attention for a full 2 hours.
Yeah.
Not to mention that they wrote more eloquently and that the grade level, so to speak, that they spoke
Much
and they
more
wrote
complex.
it. So we're not stupider now, but we're dumbed down in terms of our attention span and how we can articulate ourselves. And maybe as it continues to deteriorate, maybe that's playing a factor too.
I think it is. And I don't know what we're going to do about that, because everyone's just pointing, clicking away all day long. So I don't know what we're going to do about it.
I don't know.
I think we're going to have a show on it.
Yep.
But we're hearing the chimes.
Happy SysAdmin Day.
SysAdmin Day. SysAdmin Day. SysAdmin Day.
The business people won't appreciate us, but we appreciate you.
All right. It is Friday, July 28th, 2023, SysAdmin Day. What is this, our fourth SysAdmin Day celebration? I don't remember.
I think so.
Email show packetsandbolts@gmail.com, packetsandbolts@gmail.com. Find us on Mastodon, Discord, OnlyFans.
Unless you're a developer.
We're going to have developers on. We love you, developers.
Yeah, we love you.
Remember, keep packing those bolts. Until next time, see ya. Real goat.